this is also a good opportunity for you to think about your future career options. Okay, so let's probably start you know with something that is in general. So let's start with something that in general. So I think I mentioned this before, but in case in case you are still wondering, let's say why it's important. So, just to give you a little bit motivation, right? Just to give you a little motivation. Let me also try to admit all of your peers to the meeting room. And okay, I think everybody in the meeting room, maybe, let me double check. I think, yeah, I have 7 people here. I think that I read my message, it says we have 9 people. So, let me close the chat room. Okay, we have 2 more people here. Okay, here we go. We're almost there. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, I hope everybody's here. Thank you for joining me. Again, let me restart again. So first, let's say just to try to refresh your memory. Again, my goal is to show you how to actually use like some text data to create like market insights or business insights. It could be any text data you encounter, could be text data you collected from your Qualtrics survey. It could be text data you found from annual reports. So for those of you guys who work in finance or accounting, so that being said again, so imagine so if you are still interested, there are many online courses you can take. So we can't, cover everything like in 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes, right? In 30 minutes. But the long story short, I think this is something I always show my students, my attendees at the beginning. So why do we even do this, right? To just give you a little bit more motivation. So I think I want to show you here. So you see, let's say basically I show you a number of jobs. If you just do a random search using text analysis, you get like 8,000 jobs. But some reason, yeah, I think yesterday I did the same search. It was 7,000. Today you get 8,000. So maybe some new employers actually publish some new job positions that require skills in text analysis. Okay, text analysis. So you see here marketing and customer enterprise director, right? This job position also requires, some text analysis skills. Again, I'm just trying to show some examples. We can't do everything, or we can't cover everything. But let's probably just go to this job requirement. I usually, do like a text search again on the page. And, sometimes, we may not be able to get exact match, but that's okay because it's the search, I think sometimes it gives you approximate uh, estimation of this job position. If you include one of these terms, sometimes it also gives you the result. Okay, gives the search result. So that being said, again, long story short, let's get started. So I have the data set here and also some of my tutorials are listed here. But for today, we are going to use this data set, which I already pre-processed. So we have a column named the text. Okay. So you may have something similar. If you learn how to scrape data from ready.com, you may have something similar. Okay. There'll be a text column. And then, let's say you go there and copy that text column. Let me show you how this looks like. So you see here, the first column, the second column is going to be date, and then time, title, and then text. So basically, I came here and copy this text column. So why do I do this? Because, imagine as a beginner, you want to avoid, those, let's say errors or let's say, bugs when you do a little bit coding. I would say a little bit coding, just enough, right? Just enough to be dangerous, you know. So, that being said again, so I mean, uh, basically now imagine you copy that text column and you post it, paste it to Excel spreadsheet. And then let's say here I actually download to my website. You see here, I'm gonna send you the chat. basically for my students, for those who want to get extra credits, I really want to make sure you follow my tutorial to create valuable charts. You can you'll be eligible for some, probably for some extra credits. Okay. So, basically here, you see here, I just sent you the website for you to download this data set. As a Starbucks, this Reddit post regarding Starbucks, discussions were scraped, 1 month ago using R as well. So I mean, so for those who takes this class, you see here. Now, let's say I just try to copy the text column. And then, now, good news for you, you can just download it here. You see the download button here. Once you download, it's going to be available in your local folder, right? Your local folder. Okay. So now let's get started. So for those of you guys who are here, you understand, I covered this topic many times, but you understand, if you want to be an expert, sometimes you do need to read some online article to understand the background, introduction, the terminology, concepts, methods, maybe, some of the algorithms, right? But to give you this method, general introduction, you see, here's a wiki. It's not a Wikipedia. It's a wiki, our website for data analytics. Data analytics. I really like this chart because otherwise, when you look at the statistical result, you're probably wondering, okay, what's going on here? So it shows, okay, associations, word cloud, word frequencies, you get confused, right? But here you see here, this is basically what it looks like. Imagine, so if you read the first sentence, people who drink Pepsi Max probably prefer sugar-free drinks. Okay? So here, imagine, so we get to actually normalize this text. I think, we get to, imagine many times we get to just extract words that have, probably real meaning. So for example, some of these words, it just repeat itself. People who, right? So who here is not important. So we normalize who will be, ignored somehow. And we just capture, some of those important nouns, verbs that carry real meanings, right? You see the here or here, some of these words do not really carry too much meaning. Okay. So that being said, this is just a basic way of understanding text analysis. Basically, we try to capture, the, 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 the meaning of each sentence by dividing the sentence into smaller segments, okay, or smaller, smaller parts, which can help us understand really what's going on, in a easy to understand manner. Okay. So that being said again, so I'm not going to read this article here because you guys can read it later on. And it's a well-written article. You see here, also good news. You see here, this Wikipedia article, but in general, the first software they recommend here is R. So because, it's very user-friendly. Okay. So even if you have no background in R, I think I try to make sure you can follow somehow. So, you don't feel you are, excluded because, what I was saying in my introduction is that, let's say, basically, if you can read English articles, you can do this. Okay. So let's get started. Again, so, here again, so please try to read this article if you can. Let me also send you the article in the chat. So basically, you want to start from something that is general, and then start with something that is technical. Okay. And then start something that is a little bit more technical. Okay. Again, I already sent you the link to download the data set, but in case you didn't see it, or in case you want to download it right now. Please do it because otherwise, later on, uh, you know, you don't know what you are doing, and then you don't know what I am doing, right? So basically, the link for you to download dataset is here. Okay. So that being said, let's get started. So first, you see here, I'm gonna start from scratch, and So, let's say we are going to use RStudio Cloud. So you may want to ask me, why do we use RStudio Cloud? So the answer is that, it's free first. Second, uh, you are doing some coding, but, basically, this kind of coding is actually very user-friendly for especially beginners. So you understanding, here probably in this meeting room, none of us have computer science background, right? So we don't need a computer science background to understand what this language is and how to use it. But for some, computer science languages, let's say Java or C or C sharp, those languages are usually written for people who have some, computer science background. Okay. So that being said, let's get started. But basically, you see here, for those of you who have some background, even if you don't have background, see here, first step, you already search, right? You already search. And then, let's say here, I want to make sure I show you how to register. Okay, if you're a first time user, you can sign up by clicking this sign up tab close to the upper right corner. Click sign up, and then choose a free plan. So now you are officially doing some cloud computing. And then click learn more, and then click sign up. Okay. So now if you are Google user, you can use the Google credentials right away. Now since I already signed up, I'm gonna log in. But basically now take a look. You see here, login with Google. That's why I strongly recommend that you use Google credentials. Okay. So I have my GitHub account. So I'm gonna log in with GitHub. But you are welcome to just use your like a Google account. Okay. So login. Once you log in, you will be able to actually do the analysis in maybe just a few minutes. Okay. But I will do a brief introduction why we do this and how we do this. Okay. So see, I have too many documents. I'm gonna start from here. But if it's first time, imagine you're gonna start new project, as in new RStudio project. Okay, new RStudio project. Okay. So that being said, once you click, it's going to be like this. I'm gonna click here. So basically we follow the same way. We're going to go to the programming interface environment. And then we can do, we can upload our data set and then do analyze the data. And then finally, we can also publish our figures, or download the figures for reporting purposes. Okay. So that being said, imagine your workspace is going to be like this. Okay. Your workspace is going to be like this. So those of you who can see your workspace, can you send me can you send me number one in the chat? So I know we are on the same page. Can you guys send me number one in the chat? If you see a workspace like this, you may not have a page that shows, your statistic analysis, but that's okay. So we want to start from scratch, right? New file, our new file. As our script, right? So can you guys send me a number one in the chat? So I know, let's say you are almost there. Please. Okay, that's cool. So please keep work on it. And but I think once I open it, I can take probably 10 seconds and see if you guys want to follow. But basically here you see here, let's say first option, file, new file, our script, right? So basically, why do we do this? Because we want to let our computer do some statistical analysis using this software, which is R. Okay? So that's why we say R script. So basic coding is also named scripting. That's why we call script. And some of you probably who took my class, you understand there's also something like R Markdown. So you can actually create HTML document or PDF document. You can also create apps or APIs. Again, please send me number one in the chat so I know you are trying to follow me. Okay. So again, so file, new file, our script. Okay. So once you are here, you see here, let's say it allows you to do some minimum coding. Okay, minimum coding. Okay, so now you see here, let's say the first step. I'm gonna let you guys, you know, run, the following parts. But I'm trying to slow down because sometimes, we really don't have that much time. But today I think we really have some time. So I'm gonna slow down. You see here, this is a TXT file which I use for my draft version. Okay. But here I'm gonna send you this in a moment. So you don't need to type any, you don't need to probably type, you know all of this on your own. Okay. But there's a benefit, if you want to really type this, sometimes, really gets you, it helps you get familiar, with, some of the basics. Okay. So that being said, give me just a few more seconds, and then I'm going to send you this document in the chat. Okay. And then, it really makes sure, let's say, if you're doing this, right now, maybe there's no need for you to type anything. Okay? So give me just a few more seconds. Okay, I think we are almost there. I'm gonna send you a chunk by chunk. The reason I do this is that, let's say, if you get an error, then you know how to move to the next section. You know you need to stop, right? I hope that's intuitive. So let's say now I'm going to send you the first chunk in the chat. And then, I'm going to tell you why we do this. Okay. So first chunk here, you see, basically we try to install these libraries and then read the libraries. And then there are two ways of installing these libraries. One way is to just run line for everything here. And second way is to install it manually. Okay, see packages install, this option will allow you to install manually. But sometimes we want to automate everything, right? Let's try to automate, everything. Sorry, I think here I need to switch order a little bit, but that's okay. I will resend to you guys in the chat, okay? I will resend this in the chat, okay? So you don't get any errors. Even if you get any error, that's good because, it means that you are learning something new. See, I already sent you the first chunk in the chat. This chunk helps you install these packages and then read the libraries. Okay, let's run it. So you see here, sometimes you get like an error message, right? Yeah, that's okay. It's just a part of learning something new. So basically, if I were you, I will do some minor change and then I will resend you in the chat, but bear with me, give me 1 second, okay? I think we got a package that is not available. That's okay. So give me one more second. So you may get some errors, so bear with me. Because the cloud version, it works just a little bit differently, from the, let's say the desktop version. Okay, desktop version. So just slow down and the worst thing you do is to give up. So never give up. Okay, never give up. So let me run it again. And I want to make sure, see here, you don't want to restart. Okay, just click no and click no again. And lubricate is not writable. And don't want to use here. I think I'm just going to cancel that thing named lubricate. So don't need to install it. And click no again, no again. Let me delete this one. You see here, this online version again has some limitations. So, we will make it clean in a moment, okay? So we just need to make sure we stop installing these ones and then it should be all right. Okay, I think we got some minor errors. Then we will just move to the next stage. And let me resend you this in the chat. And I hope we should be able to. I think usually here at this stage, we just install this package and then we will see if we need to install any other packages, in the next section. Okay, so let me just send you this in the chat again. So we install this TM package, which takes money. And then, we start from the next part, okay? So next part you see here, we are going to load the data set. But, now you're going to ask me, where is that data set? So, let's say, long story short, the data set was here. So I hope you were able to download that data set. If you were not able to download it, resend you in the chat, okay? Now let's come back, okay? Now let's come back. So basically, once you download that data set, you will actually need to upload that data set, right? Because, when you do the analysis, you have to have a data set, right? So where is that data set? So using RStudio Cloud means, let's say you will make your data set available in the cloud, okay? Let's say my data set, I which I already downloaded, it's here in a folder, right? Local folder, okay? I just downloaded a few minutes ago, text2.csv. So that being said, you see here the lower right corner, I'm new folder, new file, and then the third icon, I'm gonna click upload, and then click choose file. And then you see here, let's say it will allow me to upload this data set, which is text2.csv. I click open, and then click OK. Okay. So now again, as I mentioned, we just try to slow down because we assume some of those packages sometimes they just didn't work well in the cloud space. So we try to slow down. If something's not working, we try to find a different way. And so the most important thing when you do this is to have some patience. Okay. So that being said, let's say now you see here, we are going to load the data set. Now, good news, the data set has been loaded. It shows that we have 168 rows and one column. Okay, one column. So that being said, we have good news because we didn't get any error right now. Okay, our text document in data science they call it text corpus because that's you know the starting point of your text document which can be processed and cleaned and analyzed. Okay, so now I think this is something I just did, so I need to send you the chat, right? Send you in the chat, so you can do the next section. Okay. Okay, you load the data set and then you convert it to a text corpus. Okay. And then the following section, again, you can do the following section all in once. The following section is data cleaning. So data cleaning means, maybe you see here, we need to convert uppercase to lowercase. We need to also remove numbers because numbers at this stage, they probably don't matter, right? And also we need to remove some stop words. A stop words, let's say, I am working here, at CSUB, right? So am here is a stop word because it doesn't carry any meaning. Okay, it doesn't carry any meaning. So that being said, next stage, you see here, let's say we can do data cleaning. And here, this is modularized. Okay. So for those of you who can't find the function glimpse. So they say good news. They say good news. See, you Google search. I'm trying to show you my screen. Google search. Okay. See now, somebody's gonna tell you what this really means. Okay. You really need to try to read it. And let's say, so means how to fix it and what's going on, right? Yeah. So I get the sense that, this is a package we probably forgot to install. Okay. So that being said, let's open one of these, let's say, blog articles. These people are going to tell you what to do. See, this guy tell you the answer. So you didn't have this package installed. That's okay. It's just a part of the learning process. Okay. So that being said, let me resend you in the chat. It sounds to be tedious, but imagine. So now, if you don't slow down and you try to replicate what I'm doing, you're really not learning, you're just doing copy pasting. Okay. So see, I'm gonna copy this and install this package, and then I should be able to perform that function. Okay. Let's say, for example, I'm install it, right? I don't want to restart. Click no. And then, let's say I also write a library function here, and then I copy, that part again, which is the name of the package. Okay. So that being said, I think now you assume, you will need this part probably all in once. Again, do not try to, you know, give up. The last thing you do is to give up because, this is not like watching Netflix shows, or reading books. The answer may not be straightforward. And so you see here, I'm trying to show this. I guarantee now, it should work. Maybe Nick, how did they go? Did they work? Once you fix it, if you could open a mic for me, send me a message. Okay.
It works for me now.
Okay, that's cool. So, always remember, so any question, any error you encounter, you
Yeah,
know,
it's working now too,
you
yeah.
can find the answer online. Okay. You don't even need to use AI. I don't suggest you use AI. Just use people's, discussions and see what they're saying, right? Try to understand what they're saying. Okay, so let's move to the next stage. So let's say, again, let me probably just resend you the first part. Again, if you encounter any errors, send me in the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look. Okay. Oh, I can't send that many. So let me send you just a little bit. Okay, this should be fine. Okay, I just sent you this part in the chat. So basically, we're gonna remove those stop words, those words that do not carry real meanings. Okay, and also with this basic step of data cleaning. So you see here, basically I send it to you and hopefully understand once you run it. Oh, I think I resent you that again, so sorry. So I need to copy this part and paste it there. I resend you in the chat. Sorry, made some changes. Okay, let me resend you in the chat. Again, please use this one. Okay. And then you see here, I'm not going to reinstall package. I'm just going to rerun the last 20 lines or 22 lines. Okay. I click run because I already installed a package, right? You see here, the color of the font here under console is blue. If it's blue, it means everything is working properly. If you get an error, usually they give you an error message, okay? Something not working, right? Something not working. Just double check Google search what's going on. So now let's do the first analysis. So see the first step is finished. This is like a modularized programming. So basically, each part performs certain tasks, okay, based on, the functions you use. The second part, we're going to do a word cloud, okay? This is the first the analysis we're going to perform. So let's just slow down. You see here, you make a copy. Okay. I'm gonna send you this in the chat. Yeah, so it's asking you, okay, maybe you get an error, right? Yes, you already learned to do how to do it, right? But I can replicate that part, snowball thing, right? Snowball package. You see here, you copy and paste it here. This is snowball C. I don't know why they use snowball C, but you don't need to know why they use snowball C instead of snowball, right? Just install it. As let's say, they said, okay, perhaps you mean snowball C, um, right? So maybe if they say they give you that reminder, let's just do it, okay? And I hope that should work. Otherwise, the next part is, make sure you make sure, let's say you read the library, okay, or run the library. Okay, probably you don't need this quotation mark. Okay, so see, we install Snowball C and now we run the library manually, right? And should work. I just send you this line so you don't need to worry about running too many lines. Okay, so next part you see here, we are gonna run that word cloud. Again, this, does sound a little bit tedious because now, you want to install this package word cloud manually. Okay, let's say word cloud here. I will click install and cancel it. And I'm gonna send you this in the chat. I want you to install this package manually so you know what you are doing because as I mentioned, this language is modularized. Each section runs helps you get something done. Okay. So this section we want to generate word cloud. There are two different word cloud packages. I want to show you both of them. Okay. So say I'm run word cloud, I install the package, install it, and don't want to restart. And then, let's say the minimum frequency, I'm not going to choose 400. Okay, I can resend you this again, but basically my idea is that 400 seems to be too numbers too big. You want to use a smaller number, minimum frequency. Okay, we want to use a smaller number. Okay, but mean 100, if it's 5, it gives us something, okay, will not be plotted because, it means that, there are probably too much information. Okay, that's okay. We just change it to 50 and let's see what happens. If we change to 50, it still doesn't look good, right? You see, you got a word cloud, but it doesn't look like word cloud. So now you see the trial error process. Now, let's try 25. It means that 50, that number is too high. Okay, try 25. If I try 25, it still doesn't look good, but that's okay. It's a little bit better, right? It's a little bit better. Okay, now, since 20 is not good, let's try 10. Okay, minimum frequency be 10. Okay. Now zoom, click zoom. I see here, basically this post about how people talk about Starbucks, right? So it's a little bit better, but I think it still has some problem. Maybe you still need to come back and try 5, right? You still need to come back, try 5. Okay. So now you see here, this is basic what you have. It's not perfect. Okay. And some of you said, even 400 is good. I'm not a fan of this package. I'm going to tell you briefly why in a moment, and then I'm going to show you how to do this differently. Okay. So you see, next section, we are going to do word frequency analysis, and then we are going to redraw the word cloud using a different package. Okay. So I'm going to send you this all in once so you can get two graphs. Okay, sorry. I think it's better to get it one by one. So this section, you are going to generate that word frequency figure. Okay, let's make, again, this is modularized. The next section, we only do one thing. We do a term document matrix, we use that term function, and then we do a word frequency analysis. Okay. So see, we generate word frequency analysis. A lower right side. A problem is we get so many regular words. Okay. That's okay. Many times, I mean, especially, I mean, if you know a little bit more programming, so R and Python both allow you to actually cut this customized, you know, uh, customize, let's say, stop words. Let's say, really don't like this word, the first one, the second one, get, adjust, because they really don't also carry too much meaning, right? You can do it, but, since this is, for beginners, so I think, I will skip that section, but I can show you maybe at the end. Okay. So you see here, let's say view, but alternatively, you can show maybe top 30. Okay. Top 30. So here I'm going to change 10 to 30 and change 10 to 30. And then run it. I will also resend you the chat. Okay. So now you see here, I have the top 30, keywords. Okay. Or top 30 frequent words. You see coffee. I saw coffee somewhere. Okay. So now that's the next analysis. Now, the following analysis, as I mentioned, we want to have a better word cloud. Okay. So let's do it. So I'm going to send you the chat. So here I send you the chat. And in the meantime, please understand you will need to install the next package, which is Word Cloud 2. Word Cloud 2. And just copy the name and go to packages and then click install and package name Word Cloud 2 and click install and do not restart the software. Okay. So this word cloud is probably a little bit better. Okay. So let's run it. And I think, as I mentioned, this word cloud package is probably not just a little bit better. It's actually way better, right? Way better. Because basically, shows all of these words, right? Almost all of these words in a word cloud. Okay. And you can always click zoom in and then you can see details of this graph. Okay, I'm gonna close the window, but you see here, also for those you want to redeem more extra credits, you want to publish your results. So I see, okay, so you are trying to follow me at least, probably. So now you know the next one. I think this is something I briefly mentioned that's also a powerful technique. So basically, you cannot do a word association analysis. Why do we do this? Basically, imagine if people talk about presidential candidates, let's say Donald Trump. If you put his name here, and then see how people talk about him, right? But here we want to see how people talk about Starbucks. So I'm sending you a chat. Again, one sentence helps you finish this analysis. Okay? If you get an error, please let me know because we may need a specialized function package if you don't have it, but I already have it. Okay? So for me, it's not a problem, but let me know if you have any error. Okay? So I'm gonna run it. You see here, let's say once I run it, I cut off values to 0.25. And that's probably too little. Okay? I'm gonna increase it to zero point 0.4. So I get less words. Point four is it still get too many interview. So maybe people will talk about, interview skills or maybe, you know, issues at Starbucks. So now, good news, imagine. So doing data analysis means, you don't want to just look at your analysis. You also want to look at your original data set and look at what people are talking about interview. Let's say I'm going to now use this search query and make a copy. And then I want to go back to that original spreadsheet. I want to do a text search here. I want to see how people talk about interview when it comes to this company, like big company like Starbucks. Okay. You see who went to the National Book Festival. The main event was whichever, right? And maybe they mentioned Starbucks somewhere. Okay. It doesn't seem to be highly relevant. Okay. How about next one? How to beat them and whichever. Okay, this one. Somebody selling jeans. Okay, maybe this one. Maybe this one. I failed my interview in 5 seconds, but that's not probably important. Yeah, this person probably had an interview with job with, employer at Starbucks. Maybe that was his experience. But basically what I want to tell you here is that, let's say basically now, you can go back to your original data and see if there is any story you want to pay attention to, right? It's like cherry picking. Okay. Lastly, as I mentioned, there's something you can do by using the libraries, and sometimes it can be pretty powerful. Okay. Let me show you the last one. And before you ask me questions, okay, since we only have like, pretty much around 45 minutes. And I'm going to send you this chat. Again, this part will give you a surprise because many times if you want to do this, your third-party website, it's not free. They can help you do a word cloud. I guarantee you can do one for free. But then when it comes to text sentiment analysis, no, it's not free anymore. Okay, it is not free anymore. So I have good news for you. So if you use R, it is free. And now you can do this sentiment analysis in like less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 6 lines. If you skip the space. Okay. But here, the reason we can do this is that we are using somebody's library, and this library itself is like a book, which gives you both conceptual details and technical details. The library is I think a suicide, right? And let's install it and do not restart software. Okay. And then you see here, we are going to read the data set again, but you already read it. I just want to show you this part again. Okay. So read the data set, right? 168 rows, one column. Okay. Okay. So now you see here, you are going to get the sentiment. Okay. Click this one, get sentiment. So this one may take a while. And then click head is. Okay. You want to see how people talk about Starbucks. Are they showing anger? Are they showing, other kinds of, sentiments? Let's say fear, joy, sadness, surprise, trust, or something positive, negative, right? Now the next part will help you do magic things, which means if you use third-party website, it's not going to be free because word cloud, they always make it free probably. But sentiment analysis, see, guys, take a look. Lower right side, you can do it for free. Okay, now also one more good news. You can customize your plots. Let's say, I mean, it's already 7:45. I thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the event. But basically now I'm going to customize my plots. So I'm going to have sentiment plots for Starbucks. So you see now this is like using Excel. Basically, you talk to your computer what you want to do, right? Okay, this is my title, right? Click run. You see my lower right corner, I have sentiment scores for Starbucks. Okay. I think now I'm gonna publish this, and I click publish for those of you guys who are still with me. This is the last step, especially if you want some extra credits. I give you a few options. Okay. So click the first option, right? And then publish, right? And then and then it's gonna show up like a registration page. Okay. I think today maybe I have some connection issues, but remember this can be published. Okay. This can be published for free. I think I have some connection issues. Okay. But remember, so if you have normal internet connection, you can publish it for free. Maybe, the server at this stage is probably down. That's why, probably get this error. But remember, so I think, you should be able to publish for free. Okay. I think today the reason we can't publish is, let's say, I think maybe, the server is down. Okay. Because we are using the cloud version. Okay. We are using the cloud version. So that being said, I think I'm gonna hopefully send you recordings. If you can publish later on sometime tomorrow. Remember, this is the last step. It's pretty straightforward process. Once the server is ready, you can publish it. Okay. I think as of right now, we have some connection issues. The server is down, and this is something I can't fix because this company itself, our studio is owned by Microsoft. Okay. So you have to just wait until the server backs up and then maybe you publish. Okay. But otherwise, I think, yeah, that's it. And, if you have any question, let me know. Otherwise, imagine if you just want to use this for your next project, you can also click Zoom. And then you see here, it's going to show you the graph, right? Once you have this graph, now you can capture screenshot. You can capture screenshots. So basically, sometimes you think, let's say people don't like Starbucks. But basically, I think that the sentiment is still highly positive, right? The sentiment is still highly positive. Now, imagine, so as I mentioned, we are doing marketing. When we do marketing, we want to look at how positive it is, right? So now we actually use a like text mining, text analysis method to label these statements. Maybe now you can go back to the original text data because people like reading stories, right? People like reading stories. So maybe now you can come back to this original text data and take a look and then see what are some of those positive statement from your customers, right? And as let's say there's also good news. I mean, I actually have a online tutorial which helps you classify, text data using Excel as well, and helps you classify each one of your statement one by one. Here, this just shows you in general all of these 168 comments in general. Let's say what a sentiment looks like. Okay. So that being said, there is a way for to show the sentiment for each one of these sentences, each one of them. Okay. Again, that's it. Again, please do not forget, it's always about storytelling. You don't want to just put a graph there and then tell people, okay, you go ahead and read it and see what it means, right? You want to assume that people come here when they come to your report, when they come to your analysis, they're looking for stories and insights. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording because I know some of you may have additional questions, and I'm here to help you answer any question you may have. Imagine some of you are working on projects, so I can talk with you for a little bit more time. Okay.